is how we country down.
Hi everybody, welcome to Katrina's Garden Homestead. I am cleaning out my brooder, and I'm going to show you all how I do that. I still have those 14 chicks that are in that brooder, and when you have that many chicks in a brooder, you're going to have to clean it out unless you have a really big brooder that you can probably get through 3 weeks to 4 weeks without having to do anything to it. My brooder is not huge like that. It's not a big brooder. 14 fit in here very well. So I'm going to show you my brooder, and then I'm going to go through what I use to clean it out. All right, so here we go. All right, the first thing I did was I took all the chicks and I put them in a very deep box. I actually used a one of my green stock boxes because they're stand about this high. Sorry, you can't see me, right? They stand pretty high and they can't jump out of that. And then I just kind of closed the top of the box just in case, because I got some jumpers in there. When I tell you I got a box full of popcorn, I do. All right, and then I picked up this steel gray grout brush from Dollar General. All right, you can get these at Dollar General, y'all. Very sturdy, good for cleaning. All right, and I clean all of the quail items with this. Their food dish, their brush, their food dish, their water dish, everything. And we're going to clean this brooder with this brush. All right, now I also use, this is from Azure Standard, all right, and it's called Azure Clean Dish Soap, fragrance free. All right, and this is what it looks like. All right, now this is a powerful plant-based cleaning soap. So I know that this is not going to hurt my quail, all right, because it is plant-based. And it is just a natural, organic way to clean. All right, so there are some chemicals in it, but they are clean chemicals. They're not going to hurt your quail. All right, and you just want to make sure that you rinse it. All right, and it says hand nourishing formula effectively cuts through cooking grease. Well, then it's gonna cut through the quail poop too. All right, so I do use this to clean my quail habitats with. All right, and then once I've cleaned it, this is a solution of original listerine and warm water. All right, and I will spray the brooder down with this and wipe it out dry. All right, and then I will place my paper towels, put my feeding back on top, my feeding for their feet, back on top of the paper towels, and clean out, and put them back in the brooder. All right, they are at an age where you also want to be careful if your quails are very young, like a week old or so. You may want to just give them another week or so to adapt to the temperatures before you clean the brooder out. But let your quail tell you. Okay, my heat lamp that goes to my brooder is on extremely low right now. So and the next level is off. So I do want them to have a little bit of heat, especially at night, because I kind of run my fan to where it pulls in the cool air from the living room at night, and that's enough for my room. It cools my entire room off because that fan is pretty powerful. So is that air conditioner. All right, now this is my brooder. Let's see if I can get it up here and show you. All right, and as you can see, it has the air vents. me show you those vents. Those are the air vents in it. But as you can see, it is not that big. However, this is what we're cleaning out. Y'all see the mess in there. Alright, so I am in the bathroom. And I'm going to clean this out in the shower. And I'm going to bring you along. Alright, let's get busy. So the first thing I'm going to do is put in the soap. I don't use a whole lot, but I use a generous amount. Alright, and then we're going to put in just a little bit of hot water. Maybe a little bit more. And then I'm going to take my brush here and just scrub. And they like to splash quite a bit, so sometimes they will splash. Get it everywhere. And I mean, they can splash, y'all. But I like this brush because it's metal bristles. It's not those plastic things that fall off. And it fits in these little corners. Alright, so I'm going to finish cleaning this off, and when I bring you back, it's going to look something like this. Alright, so now I'm going to do my first rinse. Make sure we get this clean, very clean. I'm going to do that. Take a shower. I'm going to take my, show you what it looks like after the first cleaning. Alright, so that's what we're looking like right now. So it cleans up very well. I got a couple of corners in here and a couple of side pieces that we're going to clean. So I'm just going to flip this around. I'm going to do another thing of the Azure Standard organic dish soap. I'll put a little bit in there. Go in with some more hot water. Turn that water off. And I'm gonna get my brush. Now with this brush, it also has this little scraping piece here, right there. So I can't get in these corners. Where sometimes the bristles don't get it out. You just scrape it out of that corner and it'll come right out. To hang out on the edge of this. There are some edges down in here, and that's usually where they are. So I'm just going around these corners again to make sure we get it all off. Now, if you have a sink that has a spray nozzle, you can use that. I have one in the kitchen. But I also have dishes in there, and it ain't my turn. No, I'm kidding. I don't know whose turn it is. I don't really care. I just didn't feel like washing dishes first thing this morning. I woke up with this on my mind. I wanted to get it done. Because it needs to get done. So I'm going to finish cleaning this and then I'll bring you guys back on. Alright, so now I'm going to rinse and I'm going to use hot water. Rinse those corners real good. Now, I could take this apart. It would be probably easier, but it's hard to get this together. Not really hard, but the top can be tricky to get on because this is collapsible. So when those chicks go, into the brooder or into the cage, alright, that's what our box is looking like. See, we got those corners clean with that brush. Alright, we're just going to rinse a little bit more, make sure we get all the debris out. So you see how the top can come off right here? And then that will make the whole thing collapse and harder to get on. So I'm going to push it back on there. Because what we don't want is to have to... There we go. Alright, so... a little bit of debris in here. And that's just getting caught up in the groove here. But this... I would say that this Brooder box is very clean. Alright, so I've got it cleaned and I'll show you. Very clean. Alright, and then the next thing I'm going to do is spray it down with the listerine mix. It's just listerine. Original gold listerine and warm water, and then we'll take some paper towels and dry it off. All right, and that's just to disinfect. Give us a little bit of disinfectant. Now, make sure you dry this up very well. Paper towels. And this is a good disinfectant to use. This is the same thing they tell you to spray on your eggs before you incubate them. I don't do that. I don't put anything on the eggs. I don't wash them. I don't do any of that. I put very clean eggs in there. So far, that's been my experience, is that the eggs that I've received from My Share Farms have been very clean. All right, and once my little paper is wet, I always keep a little baggie here to put my trash in so that I don't have to go way over there to the trash can. But that's what I do. All right, and I'm just making sure that the inside of this is very dry, especially these crevices and corners, because you don't want your chicks up here pecking around, because that's what mine do. This is like their favorite spots, is to be in these little crevices and corners for whatever reason. I guess it makes them feel a little safe. I'm gonna dry the outside. I'm not going to worry so much about the outside, because the inside is what I really want dry. One more side to dry. And I'm going to open these doors on this brooder here in just a second. Now, if you want to, you can also take a blow dryer after you've wiped this down and dry it out real good, just to make sure everything is dry when you put your birds back in there. Because you don't want to put your birds back into a wet brooder. You're going to have to go back up on that temperature to warm that brooder back up. And you may have to start over again with your temp. So, with this particular brooder, let me get rid of my paper here. It does have doors here. All right, and those doors have a slide lock. So you just slide it unlock. Top and bottom, sorry y'all. There we go. All right, and those doors open. Just like that. Alright, so I do like this brooder. like I said, we're not doing a quail farm. We are raising quail for meat birds. So this is a good sized brooder. I do not need a humongous brooder for my quail, because I'm not going to be hatching more than 30 at a time. And that's not going to be every month or every 2 months. That might be every 3 or 4 months, depending upon how much we like the quail as far as eating them go. All right, so I'm going to finish drying this up, and then I'll show you the next step that I do. All right, I got the brooder all dried up now. So we're good there. So I'm going to show you what I put in there. And this is a deoderizer to keep the odor down. And this works very well. Even in my pen outside, there's no odor there. I've got to put some down in the chicken coop, but I got to clean the chicken coop out first and get the chicken poop into the compost. I also put the quail poop into the compost. All right, this is a deodorizer. It is for horse stables. All right, so this won't hurt the animals. I don't want them eating this, so I do layer this. I will first put down paper towels. Then I will put this on top of those paper towels. This is also an absorbent, so it absorbs all the liquid that may fall in there, water, whatever. All right, and a deodorizer. So I will put paper towels down, a layer of this, and then another layer of paper towels. And then I will put shelf liner at the bottom to protect their feet. Help them from, well, they're none of them are spay-legged. So they are okay with that, but I still want them to be able to grip to walk, because when I put them in the cage, it's not shelf liner on the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in there, and this is how we do that. Okay, so this is what the first layer of paper towels is looking like. Then I'm going to take my horse stable deodorizer and pour it all over the top of these paper towels here, and then I will cover it with paper towels so my chicks don't eat it. And you don't need a whole lot of it. Just want to spread it out. Okay, so that is enough, I believe. And I will show you what that looks like. All right, so I'm going to get the other paper towels. On top, I'm going to cut my liner out to go in here as well. And the next time you see me, we'll be putting baby chicks in. Something a little bit like this. So this is the liner that I use. And we're just going to cut it to size, stick it in the bottom, and then we'll be putting the babies back in. All right, so you can see what our clean brooder looks like now. It is nice and clean. I'm going to take you over and let you see. So the lid I just wiped on with a damp listerine, the original Listerine paper towel. All right, so this is what the inside of the breeder looks like now. Our brooder, I'm sorry. Got it all cleaned up. That is my lining in the bottom there for the little feet. And now we're going to get them back in. All right, y'all, so we're going to get them back in. I've got 2 of them in already. I'm going to get the rest. I might just have them in this box. This box is pretty deep because they're like popcorn, like this one. He's just jumping all over the place. So we'll go ahead and get him. All right. He's my little jumper. So I'm going to put him in here. And there's 14 of them. We've got 3 in there. So I'm going to put a couple more in, and then I'm going to put you on a time lapse. We're going to speed this up. Oh, this is a deep box. Stop flapping. Ooh, he almost got out. Alright, so I got him. He tried to get out, but he didn't. We're just going to put him in there. So my daughter's going to help me videotape so I can move this camera back a little bit. We come across that bed there.
This is how we country down in the boondocks. This is how we country out in the sticks. Bonfires, mud tires, cowgirls, and cold beer. This is how we country, how we do this. Yeah, it's time to get your country on. Moving that dirt till it hurts, strike payday. Cash that check in a one-horse town. Punching that clock non-stop till the weekend. I suck a beer, throw the tailgates down. Find a dirt road that no one knows, light a bonfire. Find a George Strait song, turn it to 10. Kick up your boots, raise the roof on a good night. Time to get rowdy with a few good friends. It's finally Friday, and going down till the sun comes up. Doing things our way, living that simple.
He just let me pick him up. I think that's a boy. And last but not least, now you see how much they pooped in here? And they were only in here for probably an hour. All right, the last one wants to go with his family, so he just let me pick him up too. And I think he might be a boy. Maybe. He's got a little bit of rust on his chest, but he also has some speckles. So we'll see when he gets older. All right, so all 14 chicks are in. We're going to lock them in. And we're going to throw this box away because we don't need it anymore. That is how I clean my brooder box. And I hope that I did something or showed you something that will help you. The dish soap I use is from Azure Standard. It is an organic soap. And it is pet and animal friendly. I also use the horse deoderizer, which I will put that down in the description for the exact name of it, to deodorize my coops and my brooders, as well as my quail pens, my chicken coops and my quail pens. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. In the meantime, in between time, you all be blessed and happy harvesting.
This is how we country down in the boondocks. This is how we country out in the sticks. Bonfires, mud tires, cowgirls, and cold beer. This is how we country, how we do this. Yeah, it's time to get your country on. Moving that dirt till it hurts, strike payday. Cash that check in a one-horse town. Punching that clock non-stop till the weekend. I 4 straight songs.